winner of the Regional Emmy for Best Newscast. This is Today in Iowa.
We're going to come back stronger than ever.
One business suffering major damage, but they are pushing toward the future, looking to rebuild.
And in one central Iowa community, 2 tornadoes hit at the same time.
And yesterday's storms and tornadoes touched down 1 year after another tornado hits an eastern Iowa community. Good morning, I'm Daniel Wynn.
I'm Allie Crutcher. Good morning to you. Our time now just about 6:30. Typically we would be saying happy Friday, but that's not the case for a lot of people this morning. Storm Track 7's Eileen Lone is here tracking what's on tap for today, also the aftermath.
Yeah, we've got some cleanup going on in central parts of the state, southern parts of the state, but we're still dealing with some showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder across the area as the same storm system tracks through the Midwest. It's a very slow mover. It'll still provide some scattered showers. Also having a little bit of fog out there, lots of humidity, with temperatures running in the mid to upper 60s to near 70 in Washington. We're seeing those dew points in the mid to upper 60s, and that's pretty much the case through the weekend. This system's very slow to go away, so we'll see several rounds of some scattered showers, maybe a few thunder showers, especially this afternoon and evening, and even overnight tonight. We don't really get rid of all the moisture, so we're going to continue to see breezy conditions as well. Gusts up to about 35 miles per hour are possible, especially this afternoon, and still a few stray thunderstorms possible. We'll continue to watch it very carefully, but we'll also see some humid weather continuing through the weekend. I'll have the details on all of that in a few minutes.
Thank you, Eileen. The storm that ripped through central Iowa is our big story today. About 90 minutes west of Cedar Rapids, the devastation hit Marshalltown. A tornado touching down there, downing trees, flipping cars, and tearing apart homes.
Here's an overhead look from our KWL drone going over Marshalltown. You can see a lot of trees down and damage to some buildings there. Some roads are still open in the town, but many neighborhoods are seeing tree damage.
We have Team 7 coverage of the aftermath with live looks from Marshalltown this morning.
And coverage from our Storm Track 7 weather team as well. Putting Marshalltown in perspective for you this morning, it's the county seat of Marshall County.
Yeah, it's home to about 27,000 people, and it's about an hour and a half, like we said, west of Cedar Rapids on Highway 30. And we're hearing from Governor Reynolds this morning about what's set to happen this morning.
We're still performing searches to ensure the safety of all the residents, so they're still conducting that. Significant damage to the downtown. I know the courthouse was impacted. They had, I think I told you, 6,800 homes without power. And we'll continue to work with them and monitor it.
The governor went on to say that it is a miracle there were no fatalities being reported right now. Storm Track 7 meteorologist Denise Pelster was actually in Marshalltown when that storm rolled through.
And she's back in Marshalltown this morning, joining us now live. Denise, what are you seeing this morning?
Well, guys, right now I'm right off of Highway 14 and State Street. This is where we saw a lot of the significant damage. This is actually the area that I parked when I first arrived in Marshalltown about 20 to 30 minutes after that tornado touched down. Going to step off screen. Vinny's going to roll that camera for you. You can take a look at the damage to some of the houses. He's going to look at that Casey's that was hit significantly by that storm. When I parked there, I talked to some of the workers, and they said they took shelter in a cooler when that tornado moved through. And then we are also seeing power lines down. Crews are out right now assessing the damage of those power lines. They're continuing to take a look at what the damage is, how bad those power lines are snapped. You can see that house there. The roof is missing in that house. I know there was when I pulled in as well for an elderly lady who was living in that household. So we are continuing to watch these crews come in. There is cleanup now ongoing. It's become much more active in the downtown Marshalltown area. So just be aware that you need to please not come and look around. Just let the personnel come down, the officers stay away from the downtown area as they continue to clean up after this tornado. Live from Marshalltown, Denise Pelster, News 7 KWWL.
All right, thank you very much, Denise, and make sure to stick with KWWL for all the latest coverage as we continue to learn more about the cleanup process. We'll be checking in there throughout the morning. Continuing coverage now, tornadoes touch down across Iowa.
And they have left a catastrophic amount of damage behind. We're now being told at least 17 people have been injured in the storms. Yesterday, no fatalities have been reported, so that at least is some good news. This video from a viewer taken in Marshalltown, an enormous funnel cloud spotted. You can see that storm swirling in the distance there. Marshalltown City Administrator Jessica Kinzer is telling everyone to stay away from the downtown area until further notice. She's also asking people to stay off of cell lines unless absolutely necessary, and that's to allow for emergency phone traffic.
And we do know this morning the Marshalltown Hospital was damaged by all of these storms rolling through.
Yeah, there was some structural damage to that building. No patients or staff got hurt, thankfully. The hospital was still taking a triage patients in Marshalltown. Others were sent off to other Unity Point hospital locations in both Waterloo and Grundy Center. At least 10 patients were admitted to Allen Hospital in Waterloo from Marshalltown.
And as of this morning, about 5,700 people are still without power. This, of course, according to Alliant Energy's website. Currently, most of the outages are in the western and southern parts of the town. Alliant Energy says, of course, to watch out for any of the down power lines that are going to be throughout those stricken areas. If you see down power lines, of course, don't touch them. You can report those lines down by going to alliantenergy.com/outage. You can also call the number there on your screen to report any outages for power or gas. That's 1-800-ALLIANT. And the Alliant Energy Foundation has made a $10,000 donation to the American Red Cross relief effort there. And that money will help jumpstart recovery work in Marshalltown this morning.
And continuing our Team 7 coverage, Storm Track 7 meteorologist Kyle Keel, of course, with us this morning, helping with our coverage. You were here in the forecast center as these storms were tracking through. So fast forward to this morning. What's the biggest concern right now as folks are waking up?
As everyone's waking up, you've seen from Amanda and Denise's live shots from Marshalltown this morning, there's a lot of people heading into town to clean up. And of course, this storm did major damage. It's knocked down a lot of trees, a lot of power lines, so we likely have a lot of snap power lines that are on the ground. We never want to go up to those, don't want to touch them, don't want to drive over them. Lots of damage, of course, here in Marshalltown. And of course, as Denise mentioned, people are recommended to not come into town today as we have emergency personnel that will be coming in to clean up some of the damage. And we've also got the National Weather Service. They're going to be out surveying the damage. You can see from this home, this was once a 3-story home. Notice we've only got 2 levels here. The 3rd story was knocked off from the tornado. You can also see some of the shutters and siding have also been ripped off of the home. Another picture from meteorologist Denise Pelster. Again, she was there about 20 minutes to a half hour after the storm. Look at this car. It's surrounded by debris. You can see some damaged homes in the distance. The wood going through the front end of the car. It's just an incredible scene here. And then you can also see that windshield was, again, completely demolished here from that tornado. Also, another home we see here, you can see that the drywall is piled up here outside of the home. The home taking on some serious damage. A couple of people out there, perhaps the homeowners, maybe they were, they do look like that they were safe, so that was some pretty good news. And here we are looking at a photo down a street. Now this is 3rd Avenue and that is Bromley Street. And I got to tell you, when I first saw this photo yesterday, I just was speechless because, I mean, you could just see all of the devastation just down the road. You can see several homes and roofs damaged there. So a lot of cleanup going on here in Marshalltown. And we saw in Denise's live report that crews are out at that Casey's in Marshalltown this morning. You just can't even tell that it's a Casey's because all of the windows were shattered by the wind just sucking the glass out of that Casey's General Store. And you can notice that the signs are off too. And there's several pieces of wood on the ground as well. So that is the issue here this morning. We've got pieces of debris scattered all about, broken glass on the roadways as well. And of course, we've got power lines that are also on the ground as well, which, as we mentioned, you never want to cross a power line with your vehicle or go up to touch it, even if it is on the ground, because that could still be live and cause electrocution. So you just want to stay safe. If you are not in the Marshalltown area, best to stay out of the area as crews continue their cleanup process. Daniel, Allie?
All right, thank you, Kyle. One of the places in central Iowa hit the hardest was the town of Pella.
And specifically the Vermeer plant there. Vermeer makes industrial and agricultural equipment. Looking closely, you can just see all of those cars piled on top of each other. Also, getting another perspective here, a pickup damaged on the side of the road there. The vice president says they had a clear plan in place.
Like I said, we have lots of disaster recovery systems and processes in place. All of our team members were in shelters when that hit.
7 people in the plant were hurt and taken to a hospital. They have since been released. Despite everything that has happened in the last 24 hours, the CEO of Vermeer says they will rebuild.
So, yeah, we certainly are going to rebuild, and we're going to come back stronger than ever.
The plant will not be open today, and we're getting a look at some brand new drone video over the damage of that Vermeer manufacturing plant. You can see the roof ripped off there, just no longer there. Damage everywhere, as you can see. And this is also back over in Marshalltown. Other businesses and took the brunt of that storm. This is Lennox Industries. You can see the grounds of that facility just thrashed in the wake of the storms. Storm Track 7 reporter Amanda Gilbert has been out near Marshalltown all morning.
And she's joining us now live again from Marshalltown. Amanda, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, crazy morning here in Marshalltown. I did speak with a deputy chief with the fire department. You might be able to hear the fire department going off, sirens going off behind me. Now, he says what's most important, though, no major injuries have been reported as of yet, just minor injuries. He also says this is a strong community. They are going to bounce back. Still, though, today's all about damage assessment, and many businesses in town are going to be closed because, as you can see behind me here, this is the scene all over Marshalltown. Just debris everywhere. Windows of cars have been blown out. Brick walls have been blown out. And then I want to show you this behind me here. This is a tiny shed that is literally upside down. It is on its roof. Then I want to show you one more thing over this way. You can see the tree debris over here. There are just so many tree branches, tree debris, trees that are down, power lines that are down. Just a very scary time. This whole town literally was just, it looks like, destroyed by this tornado. Live in Marshalltown, Amanda Gilbert, News 7 KWWL.
Okay, Amanda, thank you so much. Here's another look at the tornadoes that touched down. This video coming out of Altoona shows dual funnel clouds. You can see one of them more toward the left part of your screen, and in the distance, a second funnel more towards the center of your screen. And again, if you just listen to that for a moment, you can hear those sirens sounding in the background. The National Weather Service received 26 preliminary reports of tornadoes across the state of Iowa on Thursday.
And here's another look at those funnels. This video sent to us by a viewer that's about 10 miles away from Adventureland. Well, tornadoes causing major damage elsewhere in eastern Iowa. This
is video out of Polk County this morning. You can see there's a lot of debris on the ground there. Many people out and about working to clean up the mess. The marquee of that movie theater noticeably damaged. You can also hear multiple different alarms and sirens sounding in the background of that video.
And today, the towns hit by the storms will, of course, be focused on cleaning up. The storm system generated at least 24 possible tornadoes so far. Only about 7 people have been reported with injuries. Pretty amazing there. That was out of the Vermeer plant in Pella. And thankfully, there are no reports right now of any fatalities.
Our time now.